Hey guys, I'm Sam Messman and welcome to the inaugural edition of FCPWORKS Secret Sauce. This is episode 1, Final Cut 10, Dailies workflow. This is all about advanced workflow techniques and integration centered around Final Cut 10 workflow. And today we're starting with Dailies. If you like what you see here, come check us out at the FCPWORKS NAB suite. Chris Fenwick is going to be hosting, and we're going to have all kinds of things going at the Renaissance Hotel in Las Vegas this year. Anyway, for more info, check it out, fcpworks.com/NAB 2015. And as far as this video goes, basically I wanted to take the shot notes and sync and link workflow that we debuted last year at the FCPWORKS launch and add a new component onto it, which is Primaries Exporter, which is a new app that for the first time allows you to do batch export in Final Cut 10. And this has all kinds of implications in stock footage workflows and Dailies workflows. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and speed through the initial shot notes and sync and link process just so you guys can see it. And then we're going to jump into Resolve to do the Daily section. And then we're going to jump back into Final Cut and take advantage of all of the Primaries Exporter stuff. So you can get basically industry standard dailies in a very quick process that's also going to allow you to keep editing while all of this stuff is going on. So anyway, what we have here is an entire day's worth of feature film footage. Thanks so much, Mike Matzdorf. And basically what I'm going to do is quickly get this into shot notes and have it completely renamed and synced through sync and link. And the first step in terms of doing that is exporting an XML. And we're just going to quickly export an XML here in this folder for day 2 dailies. And that's going to export. And now I'm going to go into Shot Notes X and let's go jump into the Finder, and we're going to find this XML that is now just populated. I'm going to drag this into here. I'm also going to drag in the CSV file, which has all the metadata that I want to apply to these clips, which would theoretically be taken down on set by a camera PA, the script supervisor, whoever can pay attention and get all of this info. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this shot log over from shot notes, and I'm going to save a new XML that's going to go right back into the same folder, and this is going to open a new event into shot notes, or not into shot notes, in the library called shot notes. And basically I'm now going to have all of the correct metadata applied to my clips. As you can see, I've now got all of my clips with the correct metadata, and you can see that I've got script supervisor notes, I've got shot type, characters that were present, whether it was a circle take or not, and these are on all of the video clips. Pretty much I'm now set up and more or less ready to edit or do syncing, but I can also take this one step further and bring this same XML right into sync and link, which is going to, if you've shot second source audio, as most high-end feature films do, that has time code on it, what sync and link will do is batch sync all of your clips so that now when I do this, and I'm going to save this XML, it's going to go and drop a new event right back into this same library that is now going to have all of this correctly named and searchable metadata now applied to synchronized clips from this second source audio. Okay, so as you can see, I now have connected audio here, and when I play this back, well, let's see if we can find a better clip for that. And now when I come and play back, you're going to see that we are in sync. works great. And I have my connected audio. I will probably now go and turn off all of the storyline audio, etc. But for the most part, I'm now pretty much ready to edit. And if I go here and I select all of these sync clips, and now I select all, I can quickly go into the info tab and rename these clips so that I have camera angles and I have a nicely displayed take number and shot type however I want. You can do all kinds of stuff with that. Once again, take the link in the video. But the key issue that the next step with this is that you will often be asked to make dailies for producers and put those up on Dropbox or Aspera or wherever the studio, production company, etc. wants to see these things. And oftentimes they're going to ask for these dailies with source time code, and they're going to, and this can cost $15,000, you know, with a program like Colorfront or something along those lines. And not only that, but you don't get to keep the metadata. What I'm going to show you now is how to take Resolve and leverage this same process so that you can use shot notes on dailies generated in Resolve and basically go ahead and then immediately output and then keep editing, and you get to keep all of your metadata and it all kind of stays in one place. So the next step here is let's jump into Resolve. And now what I'm going to do is open this up and I'm going to go dig through and find all of this footage that I was using from day 2, which is living under FCPWORKS, under movies folder, FCPX demo, shot notes, and everything is living right here. And I'm going to add folder and subfolders into the media pool. And now that we have our media into our media pool in Resolve, we're going to do a couple things. And the first of which is, like sync and link, we're going to sync our audio to our video. And Resolve has, similar to sync and link, a very quick way to get your audio synced to your video. The main reason I don't use Resolve for this in Final Cut is because you can't send those clips back as synchronized clips into Final Cut and have it work as cleanly as sync and link does it. You also aren't going to be able to get the metadata and some of these other things. So sync and link is a far better solution for Final Cut 10 synchronized clips that you're going to work with down the line. However, for dailies, Resolve is a much better solution, and you can use both together to create ideal results. So what we're going to do real quick here is take all of these clips and get them synchronized, get the audio synchronized to the video. So what I'm going to do, I've right-clicked this bin that contains everything, and I'm just going to go down to auto sync audio based on timecode. It's now taken all of the audio, found the timecode for the corresponding video files, and appended it to the clip so that when we edit them into a Resolve timeline, we're going to see the audio appended. So let me show you that. So as you can see, actually in our master timeline here, we have audio and video selected here. I'm going to create a new timeline though, and we're going to call this Primaries Exporter 720p. And we're going to create the new timeline, and I'm also going to go into my settings, and I have HD 720p selected here for dailies because 720p is really all most producers need for dailies, and it's going to be a far quicker render time, etc. So I typically will do this. But what I'm going to do now is we have a 720p setting, resolution setting for our dailies. And when I go and into the media pool and I take all of these video clips and I edit them into the timeline, insert selected clips into timeline, it's going to create this timeline, which is going to have all of our connected audio here. And now I have all the clips that I'm going to need to shoot back as dailies into Final Cut. So I'm going to quickly go into the color page. There's one quick thing we're going to want to do. You can set your looks and do all the things you want to do, but for the most part, all you really need to do is this, and that's add source timecode to these dailies. And so now we're going to flip over to timeline mode, and what timeline mode is going to do is basically apply a grade across all of your clips. So I'm going to quickly add a serial node here, and with this serial node selected, I'm going to come down to this tab here, which is our data burn-in tab, and I'm going to select source timecode. And now it's going to read the source timecode from the files. And the reason I'm doing this here is because Final Cut 10 makes it very hard to apply source timecode. There's all kinds of complicated workarounds. In Resolve, it's very simple, and it's very simple to have all of your clips come out. So in terms of manufacturing dailies, what we're going to do is have all of our dailies come out with source timecode applied to them, which is what studios and production companies expect from dailies. So you might as well give them what they want. And so I could also embed the source file name if I wanted to. You know, I could do all kinds of other things down here, but we're just going to embed the source timecode for now. And with this selected, I'm going to use the pan to slide over the source timecode so that we're on the right of the frame. I could pan it up, or I could tilt it up as well if I wanted to, but this is going to be pretty much all we need. And if I now go to all the other clips, it's going to have the source timecode embedded, and we also have our audio connected so that when I come over to the deliver page, I can export individual source clips with audio that is the same channels as the source audio, and we're going to use the source file name, and we're going to save all of these to a directory I've created called Primaries Exporter. We'll make a new folder in there, and we'll call that Day 2 Dailies. And we're going to put all of our renders in there. And pretty much, this is now going to be a straightforward process. We're going to change our codec real quick to LT, and the resolution is going to be in HD 720p. And I'm now going to add this job to the render queue, and I'm going to start my render. And this is now moving right along, and while this is going, I can go back into Final Cut. And now that our Resolve renders are done, and as you can see, I'm just going to pop over here and we'll dive in, and I'll show you what these now look like. If we go into Primaries Exporter, Day 2 Dailies, I now have all of these different items, and these are 1280 by 720, and as you can see, we've got source timecode burn-in. And basically what I'm going to do now is pop into Final Cut, and I'm going to make a new library. You don't need to do this, but I'm just going to do this for this particular instance, because if I was going to build a dailies library for some of the stuff that I would want to hold on to, this might be the way that I might go about it. And I'm going to rename this to Day 2. And all I'm going to do is pop over to this Finder here and select all of the clips and bring them right into Final Cut. And in fact, let me just rename this to Day 2 Dailies so that my XML is going to be named correctly. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring all of these dailies that I just generated and use ShotNotesX to get all of the metadata that I had on earlier onto these files that have embedded audio now attached. So actually, let's go to a clip that probably should have it. So yeah, if you can see, some of these clips now have attached audio, which is what happened in Resolve. And let's go get these into ShotNotes. So I'm going to select the event. I'm going to go to File, Export XML, and we'll just put this back in the same place. XML, and we'll call this Day 2 Dailies now. And I'm going to go into ShotNotes, and I'm going to bring in the XML that I'm currently making now, which is living in ShotNotesX, recent demo, XML, and day 2 dailies. I'm just going to drag this in. And what I'm also going to do is I'm going to take the same CSV that I used earlier, and I'm just going to attach it there. And the reason that works is because shot notes is just using the clip names. And the clip names are identical from what Resolve made to what I had in the others. So as far as shot notes is concerned, these are exactly the same files. So I can add metadata to these pretty seamlessly. So now all I'm going to do is I'm going to save an XML here. And this is a new shot notes XML. I'm going to put this in my Dailies library. And it's going to do exactly what it did before and bring in all of these clips, except now they're going to be named correctly. And I'm going to have my synchronized audio here. Okay, so now that we've got the XML imported here, what I'm going to do is take a look at all of these clips that are now in my browser. And first thing I'm going to do is get rid of this one. I'm going to see what this is. It looks like this is a nothing clip, so let's just go ahead and delete this. And then I'm going to go, or reject it. It's actually and it's not going to show me in Final Cut. And then I'm going to go and quickly rename all of these clips with my presets so that I can see what camera angle they're from. And that this is also going to show up when I use Primaries Exporter in the clip name. So I have all of my clips that are going to be exported with the name that I want them to be named when we go and make the dailies with Primaries Exporter. But the first thing I'm going to do before I dive in here is I'm going to make sure all of my audio patching is correct before I edit these into the timeline. And I'm also going to make a new project that all of these are going to live in. And we're going to call this Day 2 Dailies. And I'm going to open this project up, or now it opens right up. And what I'm going to quickly do is go and patch the audio for all of these clips. And notice I'm starting from the bottom. And the reason for this is because I can shift select and quickly patch all of these components, because it's going to update going this way with multiple clips. And I'm going to know when my audio component settings aren't going to match, because I want to set all of these to mono before I edit them into the timeline. So this one is set to stereo. I'm just going to quickly do this across all of these. And then I'm going to start going, and I'm going to shift select upwards until, if you notice, this is going to change at a certain point. And so here we go. I'm going to shift select upwards, and I'm going to wait until that changes, and then I'm going to patch all of these to mono as soon as I can. And I'm going to go, and we're going to change these to 4 mono. And now I'm going to move up to 120D. And I'm going to shift select. Oh, that one's already in mono. So now I'm going to shift select upwards. And this is a quick way to patch your audio quickly, is going from the bottom and shift selecting upwards until you see the component types change. And then you can quickly switch them across, all of them at once. And now I'm going to go up this way, and we've got components of 5. And let's see, let me shift select down. There we go. 5 mono, and this will take a couple minutes of your life, but you'll be happy you did it later, because right now these are sort of pan for surround for some reason, and that is not what I want. I want these all mono and to play out as mono tracks. And let's see, we're almost there. And one more down, there we go. Mono, and we just got a couple more. And we're good to go. So now I've got all of my clips that are dailies quickly renamed. They've got timecode burn-in, and you know what? Let's close the multicam window here. And I'm gonna go just select all of these now and cut them into my timeline. And I now have clips all named properly the way I want to. And now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna quickly go down and put little markers at the beginning of the clips where I have thumbnails. These are going to show up as the thumbnails later when we export through Primaries Exporter. So I'm just going to go clip to clip and find the slate here. And let's go back. And there we go. And that's going to basically allow anyone who's looking at the spreadsheet to see the clip metadata real quick and what the clip is. You can also do this for type of shot too. There's no hard and fast rule for this. It usually just asks for what the producing team wants. But the key is setting this up where I'm going to be able to choose the thumbnails that I want and have those come out later. So anyway, we're going to fast forward to when I'm actually done doing this. This will take another couple minutes. Okay, so we've now jumped into the future, and I now have markers across all of my clips, and I'm now ready to do what you all came to see, and that's dive into Primaries Exporter. So let me go, and the first thing you've got to do to set this up is go into your destinations, and what you're going to want to do is make something that looks like this. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. The key is you want to open it with Primaries Exporter here. And why don't we just go ahead and we're just going to add a destination. I'm going to show you how to do that real quick. You're going to drag export file over here. Select this. We're going to do format, video and audio, video codec. We're going to switch to H.264. And we're going to have it open with Primaries Exporter. But you're going to need to select this. This may not show up, so you're going to go and select this, and I'm going to dive into my applications window here and just scroll down to Primaries Exporter. And once you do it one time, it's going to show up with an open with after that, but you're going to have to add it in there the first time. So that's how you're going to get this destination set up. And all you're going to do once you have your Dailies timeline set is you're going to go back to your share menu, and you're going to go to export file, or ideally you'd probably name this after the setting that you wanted. And if you come here, you're going to notice that your settings are identical to how we did that. You can also configure your roles too. But the key is we're going to call this Day 2 Dailies, and I'm going to hit next, and this is going to open up Primaries Exporter, which has 3 modules, and that is video export, metadata list, and image export, which basically allows you, the real advantage of this is it allows you to export really high quality dailies, spreadsheets for producers, and it doesn't feel like you're some indie filmmaker. Like, this is stuff that like can be delivered to studios. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to take all of the clips that are in your timeline, export individual clips based on how those clips were named, so that you can, and then it's going to create a thumbnailed spreadsheet that you can then deliver to whoever the producer is. And so some quick settings to go ahead and export. I'm going to set this to JPEG here under image export settings. And then I'm going to come over to this module, which is the video export settings. And I'm going to well, neither of these settings apply to me because all of my clips have markers and I have no disabled clips to discard, but you could optionally do this. And with the paid version, you can export an unlimited number of clips. And under metadata list settings, you can export only clips with markers, and the same as discard disabled clips as well. It doesn't really matter in my case. And you can create your own naming presets, or I'm going to use the default, which is just the clip name as I've entered it in Final Cut 10. But you could also add the day number to it. Any number of things will work. And you can also select your metadata view. I'm just going to select extended here. However, in Thomas's tutorial, which I linked to in the blog, you can go ahead and get the detailed explanation of what this setting is going to do for you and how to create your own custom metadata field that's going to display here. For my purposes, it doesn't really matter. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and export. And it's going to allow me to choose a destination. In this scenario, I'm just going to put it here, and we will make, we'll call this Primaries Exporter Day 2 Final. Create. But you could also just as easily have this go into a watch folder or your Dropbox or iCloud Drive. There's about 9 million different ways that you can share these. But the key is you probably want this stage of the game, when you're going to do your export from Final Cut, to have all of these different clips go immediately direct up into the cloud in some capacity. And essentially what it's in our scenario, it's going to, from within Final Cut, well, why don't I just show you, and I'll show you what it's doing. So we're going to click Run, and now when we now in Final Cut have a share going where it's processing all of these individual clips. And the good news is that I can now leave, I can go and do whatever I need to do in Final Cut, and it's still going to be sharing in the background, and it's going to be sharing all of these things. And once Final Cut is done with that batch export, you're going to want to give it a couple minutes to let Primaries Exporter do its thing, and then it's going to make a little bit of a directory like this. And when I click in here, you're going to see all of your clips named based on scene, camera angle, take, or whatever your naming scheme is, and they're all in a batch export. We've got 1280 by 720 H.264s. These could very easily be up on Aspera or Dropbox or whatever your deliverable is. This will all happen in the background. And I also have all of these thumbnail images that it's created based on the markers that I put in my timeline. And additionally, there is this awesome thing called the Metadata List. And if you look here, you're going to get all of your source time code, duration, and if I'd bothered, you would have had all of this metadata built in here, but I have the scene, take, and camera angle. And if you build your own metadata field, you can have this corresponding stuff happen there. But what you can also do is save this as an Excel spreadsheet, which is going to appear right in this little directory here. And I'm going to open this up with numbers. And what you have here is a template that can very easily go off to a producer or production company as part of the dailies. It's going to look highly professional and is essentially what they're used to seeing on their end. And the bottom line is that you can then go and configure this and copy and paste these columns elsewhere and essentially have an automated dailies process that in many workflows, as a lot of assistant editors know, can often take forever and is a very cumbersome process. So the bottom line is there are, of course, some other things that you can do probably to simplify this process based on what your deliverables are. You don't necessarily need to go to Resolve. You don't necessarily need to do a lot of those things. But in the event that you do need source time code, in the event that you do need a spreadsheet, you can use some of these apps in conjunction with each other and the metadata that you're pulling in to pull from the set. And all of this is designed, I know this tutorial is endless, but all of this is designed to show you some of the things that you can do. And then the question is, what do you need to do for your project? And how do you want to build your workflow around that? And that's what we specialize here in at FCPWORKS. So if you guys ever have any questions, drop me an email at sam@fcpworks.com. We've got all, if you like this, we've got 9 million things coming up at NAB. Come check us out. Check us out at fcpworks.com. And thanks for watching. We'll be back next week with something new.